Yo, what's up guys? My name is Rockantune, and today I'll be giving you some tips on how to become a better beginner staff member on a Minecraft server. So today I'm joined by one of our best staff members, Officer Jack. Um, keep keep up the good work, Officer Jack. Just to make this guide a little bit easier to follow, I'll be going over expectations, one of your main commands to help assist you with your work, and also some tips on how to move up or be more successful in your position as a beginner staff member. So just to begin, this guide is meant to help you understand the expectations that a owner or admins would have for you as a staff member, the commands that you'll have access to, as well as offer a little bit of advice to help you along the way so that you can be successful. So just for clarity's sake, we will be talking specifically about my server, PPMC, and we'll be using examples of that. And obviously servers are unique and different between certain places, but we will be talking very generally about the overall aspects of what it means to be a beginner staff member. But just recognize I'll be using examples that directly relate to my server specifically. So starting off with expectations, by using a combination of commands and just overall general knowledge of the server, your primary goal should be to help players, and your main job on the server is simply to keep chat in line. So you should be able to answer questions about your server, as well as answer frequently asked questions just in general relating to your server. So for example, we are a Pixelmon server here at PPMC, so often people ask how often do legends spawn, for example, legendary Pokemon, or how to join our survival teams, or how to use their first join kits, or stuff like that. And you should be expected to know and be able to answer those pretty common questions that you see asked a lot and that you would have asked as a new player. So just to be clear, you're not required to have an in-depth understanding of the inner workings of the server or anything like that. You're just supposed to be able to answer the base level questions, have a general knowledge, maybe a slightly deeper understanding than the average player, obviously, so you'd be able to answer the most questions, and definitely be open to learning, which is a huge thing. For example, on our server, you are definitely not expected to know everything about Pokemon battling, for example, or know every little tiny thing about the Pixelmon mod, but you definitely do need to have general knowledge of the mod and be able to help with specific things like that. But you are not supposed to know absolutely everything. We aren't expecting you to be an encyclopedia. So the next expectation is that you keep the chat alive. So while you obviously don't want to force conversations, just by keeping them going and talking to players, it's a great way to get people involved with the server and build the community. And obviously the community is only going to be built from the ground level, which is where you'll be operating most of the time. Obviously, the higher level staff can't be on the server all the time to interact with the community, so it'll be on the lower level staff to be the ones interacting, and that'll be where the community really comes from and stems from. You'll be their window into the staff team. So I think this should be obvious to basically everyone listening, but it's always good to reiterate it. You are brought onto the staff team as a helper, not as someone who is willing to exploit or use their position for power or personal gain. On basically every server I've ever been on, if you did that, you would almost certainly be removed from the staff team. So do you guys remember what I was talking about with the keeping chat in line portion earlier? Well, one of your main tools that you'll be using to do that is the mute command. So the way this command works is you do /mute and then the player name. In this situation it'll be me, and then you'll do the duration after that. So on our server PPMC specifically, we like to always give a warning first for a minor offense, and then we start to go up in 5-minute increments up to roughly 20 minutes ish. depending on the severity of it. So if I were to mute myself for 5 minutes, then you would do /mute rockandtune 5M. And then, well, as you can see, I'm currently exempt from being muted because I have the owner permissions, but that would be how you would do that. So in some very rare cases, you will want to permanently mute someone. So some examples of these cases might be if they come on and they start advertising another server and using the other server's IP, if they're purposefully repeating racist or offensive remarks, and that they know they shouldn't be doing that, obviously, or if they're just trolling or spamming stuff in chat and they're just there to make issues, then you would want to use the permanent mute. So the way to do that would be to do the same command I just showed you, but to not add the time to it. So instead it's just /mute rockandtune. That would permanently mute me until I became unmuted. So lastly, on muting, it is super important that if you are constantly muting someone, or if you have to give out a permanent mute, then to always contact a higher level staff, like a moderator or an admin, if they're reachable on your server, in order to ban the player, because that would often be the next course of action. So lastly, I just want to go over a little bit of advice for you in order for you to be the most successful that you could be using these expectations and the mute command that I've told you, and to be able to hopefully one day move up in the staff team if that's what you're looking to do. So probably the most important thing that I could tell you is that if you are a new helper or a returning helper or staff member, then never ever be afraid to ask for help or advice. Everyone is going to recognize that you're new to this, and this is a huge learning curve. So you never want to make the mistake of trying to do everything yourself. People will be more than happy to help you. Just make sure that you take in that advice and actually properly learn it for future situations, because it'll show growth and it will show the ability to actually learn and apply that knowledge in the future. So you almost certainly will be put into situations that are awkward, or you haven't experienced them before because you're totally new to this and there's a huge learning curve, like I mentioned. So I can remember off the top of my head just a bunch of situations like this when I was first a helper. One of them was that there was a whole group of friends who had just joined the server and they just started going crazy, you know? And at the time we weren't getting a ton of players on the server, so I didn't want to just instantly mute them all, you know? They were just, you know, a group of friends who were comfortable talking that way with each other, but that wasn't acceptable on the server. Understandably, I got very overwhelmed with this, but my biggest advice that I can give to you is just that you have to stay calm in these situations, because that can help you control them. If you are in a situation that is totally overwhelming to you, then please don't be afraid to message another staff member, either of the same rank or of a higher rank, and they'll be able to come help you handle it. And then, like I said before, you'll be able to learn from that situation and hopefully handle it differently in the future. So this kind of ties back into the first piece of advice and kind of the expectations portion, but another thing is just that you're not expected to know all the answers. If someone asks you a question for advice or something like that, and you don't know the answer, just saying that you don't know is perfectly fine. Obviously, you want to know as much as possible, but no one is expecting you to know everything, and no one will get mad at you if you don't know something. So my final piece of advice with this staff guide is just to be familiar and be active with all of the people that you're working with in the staff team. As an owner of a server, I feel so much more comfortable trusting someone that I've interacted with before, possibly trusting that person with a new promotion, or trusting that person with some more permissions, or trusting them to come help test out our beta server that we're working on. Oh, hello. So that isn't to say that you should suck up to the owner or the admins or anything like that. It just means be genuine and talk to people. The more that you interact with the staff team, the more that people will get to know you and like you. That was a huge mistake that I made as a helper, and it played a huge factor in why I didn't get a promotion for so long, was because I just kept myself. I did my job well, but no one knew who I was, so nobody was gonna trust me with more permissions, because I basically just kept myself the whole time. And then once I started to open up and become more active in the staff team and really reach out to people, that's when I actually started to gain people's trust and move up the staff ranks much faster than when I was a helper. Alright, so that is it for the helper guide. I really hope that this will help you, whether you are looking to become a staff member or whether you've just become a staff member, anything like that. Obviously, most of this will be pretty specific to our server, PPMC, but hopefully it'll be able to help anyone who sees this video. If you guys are interested in some of the higher level staff ranks, like moderator, then please let me know. Just comment on the video or reach out to me personally, and I will 100% have that made. I'm really excited for people to actually apply some of this and start to be more successful as a staff member. Also, if you're watching this and you're looking to check out a new Pixelmon server, then definitely come check out PPMC. The IP will be down in the description along with our community Discord. And it's also easiest to reach out there if you actually have any specific questions for me. Alright, so that's it from me. I will see you guys in the next video. Alright, later.